Good morning. I hope you can hear me okay. It's early in the morning. Well, it's not that early. It's a quarter to 10 a.m. and it is April 16th. It's a Wednesday, 2025. I'm running a little late in terms of sowing seeds, but not that late. I could have done it maybe a week or two ago, but I had to leave town, and I don't like to leave seeds that are trying to germinate for too long. So I'm just going to kick that out of the way. Anyway, I'm sowing tomatoes and peppers, bell peppers to be exact. I might do some jalapenos again. I sowed jalapeno seeds about a month and a half ago, and they sprouted and they came up, and then I took them with me to go live several states away as a housewarming gift to my oldest. So he really appreciated that. That was kind of fun. Anyway, so now I'm out of jalapenos and I need more for myself. So I have some California Wonder. So, yeah, you can look up the brand if you want. It's fine. I don't care. I'm not trying to. Some red peppers. Bush steak tomato, a black cherry, and a best boy. My grandmother always grew Better Boy and Early Girl varieties of tomatoes because I live in the Northern Plains where we have a pretty small growing season, really small. So the Better Boy and the Early Girl are sort of best suited for where I live. I couldn't find the Early Girl, and I found the Best Boy hybrid, so we'll see. It should be fine. I should also plant some aromas. Those are really good for saucing and stewing. They're firmer, so it's easier to blanch and peel them. Plus they have, I think it has something to do with the flavor. I'm not entirely sure. I'm somewhat new to this, relatively speaking. I've been, gardening in earnest now for about 4 or 5 years. Prior to that, I did things on the patio, the deck, just sort of, But now I'm growing in order to supplement our dinner, basically. And trust me, if we had to survive on what I grow, we would have starved to death a long time ago. So I'm sort of in the middle of a, what is that called? I lost my words here. Streaming consciousness, I guess, as I'm just rattling on. Anyway, I'm going to sow some tomatoes and some peppers. And it's easy enough, and I thought you might as well stick around and check it out. These are seed trays. They're made with holes in the bottom, right? They're made with very heavy-duty plastic, so you can use them over and over and over again. I have seeded an entire tray before of tomatoes, but I have discovered that I don't have enough ground to absorb said plants. I end up giving them away, which is fine. I don't mind doing that. But keep in mind, at a tray full like this, if I sowed a whole tray, within a few weeks when I have to prick them out, I have bigger plants who need more space. And then sooner, my kitchen table isn't big enough, my house isn't big enough. And until very close to June 1st, I cannot put them outside, because even though up here our daytime highs are 80 easily degrees Fahrenheit, for those of you outside of the US, that's about 26 degrees Celsius, but yet our overnight lows will easily drop below freezing, easily. So I can't do that math, but it's below zero, right? Celsius, or easily 28 degrees Fahrenheit at night. It always drops. So I have to keep an eye on the lows, which is more important than the daytime highs for me up here, until I actually put plants outside, because they will die. And tomatoes and peppers especially don't generally care for temps below, like 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Once you get close to 40, they get a little sad. And once they get cold, they don't grow as fast or as abundantly. You'll stunt them. At least I will. That's what I've discovered up here. So what I've decided to do instead is I'm going to sow about 4 in each of these little leftover pots, okay? I don't know, a half dozen? It depends. I have so many varieties here, and the extras I'm going to take over to my mother-in-law and to my mother. My mother's a little more picky about plants. But my mother-in-law will take them every day, and she has the room and I can put them in the ground. So, compost. Or potting soil, if you will. Oops. So I have a 5-gallon bucket here. I hope you can see this. And it's full of potting soil. In fact, pretty sure there's some mycelium growing in there, which is pretty cool. Maybe it's just mold. I'm pretty sure it's the good stuff. So I use my hands. Not a seed blend, not a fine koya, nothing. They're gonna grow in this pot for a while until they have at least one set of true leaves, if not two. I let them get a little, they're fine. You can pull them apart. They're not growing that close together that you're not gonna be able to separate them later once they get started. So I'm gonna put some soil in here. Oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna put it about that full. Can you see that? Am I even close? Okay. Is it gonna autofocus? And no, it's all out of the, it doesn't matter. Okay. So I'm gonna start with these Best Boy hybrids right here. Nice little round salad tomato, right? Little garden salad tomato. Put it on just about anything. I mean, you can even make sauce out of these. You don't have to have Roma tomatoes, but it's entirely up to you. One thing I've discovered about gardening and then processing the food is that it's an adventure. And you know what? It might fail. It might not. I don't know. And even if it does, then what happens? Keep going. Keep trying. Okay, so I have 4 little, they're super tiny. Can you see this? Whoop. Yes, you can. Look at that. I had to get in there. So see how small they are? Okay, I'm gonna plant those about as deep as the seed. That's a nice rule of thumb. If you have bulbs, you wanna put those bulbs twice as deep as the actual bulb. Seeds this small, like wildflower seeds and such, they need light to germinate, so they need about that much soil to cover them, which is none, right? Basically, almost. I'm gonna just sort of push them in there. Not deep. I'm not sticking them like a finger deep or anything. They're right on the top of the soil for now. The important part is that they make contact with the soil. Here, can you, I have to walk around and look, man. I think I did a different setup if I'm gonna keep doing this, okay? So you just wanna press those seeds in there, like that. There's one right there too. Can you see them in there? Now, if this cup was just a little bit bigger, I'd probably put a number 5 in there, but I'm just gonna leave it with 4. So these are Better Boy. I am gonna just sort of press them in there. They are laying flat. You know, sometimes people like to plant zucchini seeds on their side, or like cucumber seeds, like on their side so they don't rot. These won't, they'll germinate fast enough. I'm gonna just sprinkle the top of it with a little bit of soil, because it doesn't need a bunch, okay? Then, these are, what did I say, Best Boy? What the heck, I already lost my, there it is, okay? I need to label this, because I will absolutely forget what variety it is 2 seconds after I walk away. So, and the date that I sowed them. Let me get us something to label them with. Let's see, let's do a green tag for tomatoes. My mother bought me a Christmas gift, a whole bag of these about, a couple years ago. And so for Christmas, I just reuse them. I need a pencil. This one that happened to roll off my table earlier, there it is. I'm gonna erase what I had on there last year. Okay. We have BB Toms, we'll call them. They're Better Boy tomatoes, and today is 4/16. I'm gonna stick those in, stick it in there like that. Now, I am gonna use this big tray to carry them around and to water them, just so I won't bottom water them, not when they're this little. It's, if you wet this entire cup of soil, those 4 little seeds cannot make use of all that water by themselves. They can't, and they will rot and drown, okay? So I have to be real careful. So we just want them slightly damp, slightly moist. So I do this more like as a drip tray and a carrying buddy, I guess. Okay, let me get some water on these. Just a little bit. I don't, also be real careful when you pour in here. Bottom watering is really helpful because your seeds won't wash away. When you water from the top, you have the possibility of moving that seed around. So, but if you had pressed it down in the soil and they've made contact and you dusted it and you pressed it again, they should stick. Okay, there we go. Just a little bit of water. It doesn't need much. If you have like a Windex bottle or a spray bottle, you can spray the soil. It tends to dry out too fast for me to rely solely on the spray because I'm still inside and the furnace is still running and it's a complicated dance sometimes. So you just have to check and make sure. Now I'm gonna stick these. I'm going to place these in a bright sunny window, also with an extra light that I have. And sorry, I'm pointing in that direction that you can't see. That's where it is. A heat mat and a light. Thing about tomatoes is they like a nice 75, 80 degree. That's that 26 degree Celsius again, like all the time. They want it. They're like some weird Goldilocks. They're not hard to grow. They just really like cozy bathwater all the time until they start ripening, and that's a whole different conversation, okay? So just right, okay? And then they'll grow like weeds. It really isn't that hard. They just need a little heat, a little time, and they'll make it. And I promise, at least, okay, so I planted 4 plants. On a bad year, I'm gonna get 3 tomatoes off of each plant, right? Like I said, if I was growing my food to ensure that we didn't starve, we'd be dead. So I'm not. I'm growing to cut down on our bill, to have better food in our bodies, better nourishment, to do it myself. It's a fantastic hobby that costs me very, very little money, if none. The goal, it's like a game. Like, how much money can I not spend? So anyway, it's a great hobby and it gets me outside and it puts food in our bellies. Anyway, so that's 4 little Better Boy tomatoes. Should we keep going? Should we do one more? Or have you seen enough and can you get on your way by yourself? I think you're good. You grab a handful of dirt, put some seeds in it, feed yourself.